The great city of Valoria was unlike anything Cade Voss had ever seen. Towers stretched high into the pink skies. Ships flew smoothly through the air like silver birds. The streets buzzed with aliens of many shapes and colors. Cade felt small and out of place. He had come far from Earth, from a world long lost. Here, humans were almost a myth. Few had ever seen one. Cade's dark hair and strong build made him stand out even more. But he kept his head low and moved with quiet steps. No one needed to know who he really was. Cade wore simple clothes and carried a long blade at his side. It looked old, almost crude compared to the glowing energy weapons of the Valorians. But Cade did not care for fancy weapons. His blade was enough. It had kept him alive through many battles. As he walked through the crowded market, a sudden roar split the air. Strange creatures made of shimmering light appeared, attacking without warning. The aliens screamed and ran. Chaos spread quickly. Cade did not hesitate. His eyes narrowed. With swift moves, he drew his blade and stepped into the fight. The creatures struck with sharp energy claws, but Cade moved like water, dodging and cutting. His blade sliced through the creatures, breaking their forms. The Valorian guards rushed to help. They fought alongside Cade but were surprised by his skill. No human was known to fight like this. Creatures finally vanished, and the guards looked at Cade with a mix of awe and suspicion. Princess Arya watched from a distance. She was young but strong-willed, with silver hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. The guards had told her about the stranger who saved them. She was curious. Later, Arya approached Cade in the palace gardens. "You fight well?" she said. "Where do you come from?" Cade met her gaze, but said little. "Nowhere important," he replied. "Just a traveler." Arya smiled, but was not fooled. There was something about him, something deep and hidden. "You carry an old blade? Why not use a laser like the others?" Cade touched the hilt gently. "This blade has history. It's all I need." The princess leaned closer. "Tell me about your history. You have scars that tell a story." Cade hesitated. Memories of pain and loss flashed in his mind. "Some stories are better left untold," he said softly. Arya nodded but did not press. She sensed that Cade was more than a simple mercenary. And in the halls of Valoria, secrets could change the fate of many. That night, as stars glimmered over the palace, Arya looked out from her balcony. Her thoughts were with the stranger who carried a weapon from a forgotten past. Little did she know, soon she would see that past come alive, and the galaxy would never be the same. The morning sun bathed the Valorian palace in soft gold as Princess Arya paced through the grand hall. Her thoughts were tangled with the stranger she had met, Cade Voss. There was something about him she could not forget. The way he moved, fought, and spoke with quiet strength was unlike anyone she had ever known. Cade sat quietly in a corner of the palace's training yard, watching the Valorian soldiers practice their drills. The soldiers were tall and elegant, their movements graceful but lacking the raw power and unpredictability that Cade had seen in his own. People-humans. Arya approached him with a light step. "Do you want to train with us?" she asked, her silver eyes shining with curiosity. Cade looked up and gave a small, almost shy smile. "I can try," he said simply. As the soldiers formed lines and began their exercises, Cade moved among them. His style was different. It was rougher, more direct, but effective. He showed them how to use surprise and speed instead of just perfect form. Arya watched closely. "Your way is strange but strong," she said. "Why don't you teach us more?" Cade nodded slowly. "Humans fight to survive, not just to win. Sometimes you must be smart, sometimes fast, sometimes brave." Arya felt a new respect growing for this man. He seemed honest, even if he kept his past hidden. Over the days, she found herself talking to him more, asking about Earth and the humans who lived there. Cade shared stories of war and loss, of cities destroyed, and people who fought against impossible odds. He spoke of hope, even when all seemed lost. Arya listened, fascinated. To her, humans were different from the proud and calm Valorians. They felt deeply, they struggled, and they never gave up. Meanwhile, in the shadowed corners of the palace, whispers grew. The court was uneasy about Cade. Some nobles believed he was a spy or worse. The Valorian military commanders warned Arya that trusting a stranger was dangerous, but Arya stood firm. "Cade saved my people," she said. "He has more courage than any soldier I know. We need him." One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Arya and Cade walked through the palace gardens. The air was cool and filled with the scent of glowing night flowers. "Cade," Arya said softly, "do you know why you are here? Why fate brought you to Valoria?" Cade looked at her, his dark eyes shadowed. "I don't know all the reasons," he replied, "but I feel a part of something bigger now." Suddenly, a message arrived from the palace scouts. A warning. Strange ships had been spotted near the edge of Valorian space. The dreaded shadow, ancient enemies thought destroyed long ago, were returning. The court grew tense. The shadow Armada was a name spoken in fear and silence. They were ruthless and powerful, known for destroying entire worlds. Arya called a council and insisted Cade be present. She trusted him to help prepare for the coming storm. During the meeting, some commanders eyed Cade with suspicion. "How can we trust a human with secrets we do not know?" one demanded. Cade stood calmly. "I do not ask for your trust. I ask for your chance. The shadows were my enemy before yours. I want to end them." The room fell silent. Arya's voice broke through. "He saved us once. He will help us again." But the unease remained. That night, as Arya prepared to leave the council chamber, she found Cade standing by the balcony, staring into the dark sky. "What do you see?" she asked. Cade's jaw tightened. "Ghosts," he said quietly. Ghosts of a war I thought was over." Arya stepped closer. "Tell me more." He hesitated, then said, "My blade. It holds memories. Memories of the friends I lost fighting. The shadows. When I draw it, I carry them with me." Arya looked at the worn weapon. It pulsed faintly in the moonlight. She realized the power Cade held was not just physical, it was something deeper. It's born of pain and loss. Suddenly, a sharp alarm echoed through the palace. The palace was under attack. Dark figures moved silently among the halls. Assassin's Cade was ready. With a quick motion, he drew his blade. The weapon glowed with a strange light, bright and fierce. The assassins stopped. Startled by the blade's power, Cade fought with skill and fury, moving faster than any Valorian soldier. He protected Arya and the palace guards, driving the attackers back. When the last assassin fell, silence returned. The court was shaken. Arya looked at Cade, her eyes wide. "You didn't tell me your blade could do that." Cade sheathed the weapon and looked tired. "There is more you don't know." The palace was no longer safe. Arya knew the Shadow Armada was closer than anyone dared admit, but with Cade by her side, a small hope had been born. The halls of the Valorian palace were quiet in the early morning. Princess Arya sat alone in her chamber, her thoughts heavy. Cade's attack on the assassins had left many questions unanswered. Who were those attackers? Why had they targeted the palace now? Her mind drifted to Cade's blade, the way it glowed with a strange light. It was not like any weapon the Valorians had seen before. It was old, powerful, and dangerous. Later that day, Arya sought Cade out. She found him sitting by the training yard, cleaning his blade carefully. "Cade," she said softly, "I want to know everything. Your past, your weapon. Why do you hide it?" Cade looked up, his eyes dark with memories. "It is not easy to speak of," he said, "but you deserve to know." He began to tell her a story of a time long ago, far from the bright cities. A Valoria. Cade was once a soldier of Earth, but not the Earth that people now knew. Centuries ago, humanity had spread beyond their home planet. They built colonies among the stars. But war followed them. The enemy was the Shadow Armada fleet of ruthless ships and soldiers who sought to destroy everything. They had a hatred for humans that ran deep. Cade's colony was attacked. Cities burned. Families were lost. Cade fought with all his strength, but the shadows were relentless. Many of his friends died in the last battle. Cade wielded a special weapon, a blade forged from the remains of ancient war machines. The blade was unique. It held the memories of his fallen comrades inside it, like a living spirit. After the battle, Cade was left alone, his colony destroyed, his past erased by time and war. He wandered the stars, searching for a way to end the shadow threat forever. Arya listened, her heart heavy. "That is why you came to Valoria." Cade nodded. "I heard the shadows were returning. I could not stay silent." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "You are not alone anymore." But not everyone in Valoria felt the same. Word of Cade's story spread through the palace like wildfire. Some believed him. Others thought he was dangerous, a reminder of a war they hoped was forgotten. The Valorian military commanders met in secret. They debated whether to imprison Cade or use him. One general said, "He is a weapon we cannot control." Another replied, "But he is the only chance we have." Arya stood firm. "Saved us. We must stand with him." Meanwhile, scouts brought news. The Shadow Armada had entered Valorian space. Ships of black metal and burning engines blotted out the stars. The people of Valoria prepared for war. Cade trained with the soldiers, teaching them human tactics, quick strikes, surprise attacks, and fighting with heart. Arya watched as Cade transformed her soldiers. The Valorians were skilled, but they lacked the fierce determination Cade brought. One evening, as Cade practiced with his blade alone, Arya approached. "Show me," she said, "the power your weapon holds." Cade hesitated, then drew the blade. It shimmered with blue light. Suddenly, images flashed in the air, memories of battles, fallen friends, and great sacrifices. Arya gasped. "It's like the blade holds their souls." Cade nodded. "It is a part of them, and part of me." Suddenly, the palace alarms blared. The Shadow Armada's fleet was launching an attack. The great battle began. Cade led the charge, his blade cutting through enemy soldiers like fire. The Valorian ships, guided by Cade's tactics, struck hard and fast in the thick of battle. Cade faced the Shadow Warlord, the leader of the enemy fleet. The Warlord was massive, armored in dark metal. With eyes glowing like coals, they clashed, blade against dark energy weapon. Sparks flew. Cade's blade pulsed with the power of his lost friends. The Warlord sneered, "You cannot win, human. Your past is a lie." Cade gritted his teeth. "My past is my strength." With a final strike, Cade forced the Warlord back. After the battle, Arya and Cade stood among the wreckage. "The shadows fear you," she said. "But who are you really?" Cade looked to the stars. "I am the last of a forgotten war." Arya smiled. "Then we fight together." The sun rose over Valoria, but there was no warmth in its light. The great city buzzed with the sounds of preparation. Soldiers marched through the streets, their faces set with determination. The Shadow Armada was near, and the kingdom must stand ready. Princess Arya moved through the crowded halls of the palace. She felt the weight of her people's hopes pressing on her. Beside her walked Cade Voss, the human stranger whose past was still a mystery, but whose strength was undeniable. Cade had spent weeks training the Valorian army. He taught them how to fight differently, not just with precision and grace, but with heart and courage. The soldiers learned new tactics, ambushes, guerrilla strikes, and the art of surprise. "Your warriors are strong," Cade told Arya one morning, "but they fight like dancers, not hunters. We must be hunters if we want to win." Arya smiled. "Then teach us, Cade." Cade nodded, his eyes sharp. "It will not be easy, Dad. The shadows are merciless, but they do not know human will." The bond between Arya and Cade grew. They shared moments of quiet talk and brief smiles amid the chaos. Arya found herself drawn to his steady presence. For the first time, she felt hope not just for the battle ahead, but for a future with him by her side. One evening, as the twin moons rose over Valoria, Arya and Cade stood on the palace balcony, looking at the stars. "Do you think we can win?" Arya asked softly. Cade's gaze was steady. "We must. For all who cannot fight." Arya nodded, her hand brushing his. "You are different from anyone I have ever met." Cade smiled faintly. I am human. The day of battle came swiftly. The Shadow Armada filled the skyships black. As night engines burning red, their fleet blocked out the stars, a dark cloud moving toward Valoria. The Valorian ships soared to meet them. Cade led the charge, wielding his blade that pulsed with ancient energy. His soldiers fought with a new fire, striking fast and hard. The clash was fierce. Energy blasts lit the sky. Ships exploded in fiery bursts. On the ground, Valorian warriors faced shadow soldiers in brutal combat. Cade fought at the front lines. His blade cut through enemies with deadly precision. The AI within the weapon whispered strategies and warnings, guiding his every move. Amid the battle, Cade spotted the Shadow Warlord again. The towering enemy moved with terrible power, crushing everything in his path. Cade charged, blade glowing bright. The two clashed, sparks flying. "Your weapon is strong," the warlord growled, "but your spirit is broken." Cade gritted his teeth. "My spirit is not broken. It is forged in fire." With a mighty swing, Cade broke through the warlord's defense, sending him staggering back. The battle raged for hours. Valorian forces, inspired by Cade's leadership, pushed the Shadow Armada back. Arya led the palace guards, defending key positions with fierce determination in the final moments. Cade and Arya stood together on the battlefield, watching as the last of the shadow ships fled. The war was not over, but a great victory was won. After the battle, Arya approached Cade. "You fought like a hero, but I still wonder, who are you?" Cade looked at his blade, now calm in his hand. "I am a soldier from a forgotten war. My past is pain and loss, but it is also hope." Arya smiled. "Then we will fight together. You and I, human and Valorian." Cade nodded. "Together, we are stronger." The air was thick with tension on the battlefield as the final confrontation loomed. Princess Arya and Cade stood together, ready to face the Shadow Armada's leader, the Shadow Warlord. The war had brought them closer, but the truth about Cade's past was still a mystery waiting to unfold. Cade looked at his weapon, the Echo blade resting quietly in his hand. The blade's soft blue glow pulsed gently, as if alive. It held the memories of countless battles and fallen comrades, but also secrets Cade had yet to uncover. The Shadow Warlord stepped forward, towering and dark, his eyes burning like coals. "You think you can defeat me, human? Your kind was almost destroyed by my fleet centuries ago." Cade's eyes hardened. "That was before. I carry the strength of those who fought and died. You cannot break that." With a roar, the warlord charged. Cade met his attack, their weapons clashing with a force that shook the ground as they fought. Memories flooded Cade's mind, visions of Earth's lost colonies, of battles long past, and of the true power within his blade. Suddenly, the Echo Blade's AI voice spoke clearly in his mind. "Unlock the final form. The past must be faced." Cade focused, channeling his energy into the blade. It shone brighter, transforming into a weapon of light and steel. Its power unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The warlord staggered, surprised by the change. With newfound strength, Cade pressed his attack. Each strike carried the courage of humanity and the unity of Valoria. The battle reached its peak as Cade delivered a final, powerful blow. The warlord fell, defeated. In the quiet after the storm, Arya approached Cade. "The weapon, it is more than a tool. It is a symbol." Nodded. "It holds the truth of our fight, the fight to survive, to protect, and to hope." She looked into his eyes. "You carry not just a weapon, but the future of two worlds." Cade smiled, feeling a weight lift from his heart. "Then we must build that future together." The people of Valoria celebrated their victory, but Arya and Cade knew this was only the beginning. The alliance between humans and Valorians was born from war, but it would grow into something stronger: hope, friendship, and a new chapter for the galaxy. As stars glittered above, Cade looked to the end horizon. Earth was far behind, but his true home was here, among the stars and with those who believed in him. And the Echo Blade, once a silent keeper of memories, now shone as a beacon of a new era.